Welcome to Cheery Conversations. This is season 3.
Yes, if you count Jesus plus life.
Yes, there is a little confusion.
Okay.
I mean, I've had the question because there was Jesus plus life, and then we had Cheery Conversations and Cheery Conversations. So,
right.
But we're counting the Jesus plus life because really that was the start of it.
Right.
That was the start of it.
Right.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the life of Cheery Conversations.
Yes.
But
with special guest, Casey.
I did this, but I didn't know if this was going to be weird. So I don't ever feel like...
Of course it's going to be weird.
I don't ever feel like I'm the guest because I just love being there, like with people. But I did make up my own guest card.
Oh my word.
So on today's show, we're with Sonny and special guest.
And she's still introducing herself. And with special guest, and throughout this, you're going to see this is not an outtake. This is the
This is the real thing.
First episode in season 3. We're going to give you some outtakes, some, what do they call those? Spoofs? Like the things that didn't make the cut.
Not spoilers.
No. The fun stuff.
Yeah.
This fun stuff you don't see that is way more fun. And we're going to show some of that today. But this is the real deal, and it's still out of control. Casey is a wife. Casey is a wife to BJ. Yes, they both have initials for their name.
It's for real.
It's not Casey with an EE or BJAY. It is the initials. Okay, they've been married for 19 years. She is mom to beautiful Kalia, who is 15 and successfully completed driver's ed.
Yes.
Lots of time in the car holding her breath and using her fake passenger side foot brake. I love this. I don't know what's being said. She also has a 13-year-old son, Kaveh, who wouldn't want he to say anything else about him because it's absolutely not cool. She wrote this.
Yeah, I did write
this
that.
This is Casey with us today. So you have been the host of Cheery Conversations the last 2 seasons, except for Zoom calls in the pandemic.
Yes.
It was me with somebody like Tamika Jones and Hushmarine Griffin and Robin Wilkerson. And so if you missed those, they're spectacular.
So good. They're so good. Not because I'm not on them.
Right.
They're
I wasn't
just
going to
really
say
good
that.
guests.
We have no confidence problem, clearly. We will defend our own selves. No, it wasn't because Casey wasn't there. It was just like we were like stay at home unless you're going to the grocery store at that point.
Yeah, so this is what is so cool about Cheery Conversations. So it started as Jesus plus life because Pastor Sonny author Sonny Hennessy wrote an amazing book, which really started. You wrote that for the girls of the church,
right?
Like you
for
wanted
the retreat.
to disciple them. But it has such amazing content in it that it was kind of decided we needed to get that out. And so Jesus plus life was the first season,
right?
And it was Sonny and then just guests,
right?
I mean, not just guests, but guests. There was no host. And it was in this little apartment
above the exchange that we Airbnb out.
Yep. Everyone looks different because that was like 4 years ago.
It was over 3 years ago. I look at it. It was when I was going through health issues, and I look at my skin and my hair and my eyebrows, the lack of them, and I look at me and I'm like, whoa, I look different, and a lot of us look different.
Yeah.
So it was a while ago. Yeah. And the reason we started it was to be a voice to what does the Bible have to say about juicy topics. Now, we didn't have the whole Cheery Conversations juicy topics at that point. We were like, how do we add Jesus to our life? Because life is crazy and there's lots going on. And rather than looking to self-help books, self-help authors, look to the Bible.
Yeah.
But then how do you look to the Bible and then unpack it in a way that seems understandable? And so that's where the show came from, which was not a podcast. But now we have podcasts and a show. And then you came on as the host because why? Because I don't know what's going on every week, right?
No, so Sonny never knows the questions that are being asked, which I think that is such a gift that you're able to just
Maybe it's I don't like
talk.
Preparation. It's work. I say I do better because I don't know. I just think I don't want to use mind space until we're there.
So
because if you go to coffee, you don't get like an email.
Like here's what we're gonna talk about.
This is our agenda, and I feel like
true.
this is not coffee. If we're being honest, hers is empty. Mine's got water.
If we're being honest, like there's something else in there.
There's some vodka. No, there's not vodka. It's clear, but I don't do vodka. Anyway, this is like a conversation. That's the whole point. And so then it morphed to, and we came up with, explain the title and the byline and how we came up with the heart.
Well, that was really in North Carolina. We went to this really cool like writers conference.
Yeah.
Which
Lisa
was,
Turkhurst.
Yeah, it was
Tag her.
really
She'll
cool.
totally not.
I've never had an experience quite like that. So we got to hear from a lot of different things, and really the idea of it really came from Pastor Sonny, but I mean, Cheery Conversations, juicy topics. There's so many topics that people are kind of afraid to talk about because, and some of our topics aren't necessarily juicy,
right,
or cheery, but they're topics that happen in everyday life. And just like you said before, we really want to show viewers and listeners that you're not alone in what you're going through. That's why we have different guests every week to talk about these things so you can relate to other people. But we always want to point to Jesus. Like, what would Jesus say about that situation?
Which brings in the cheery part. Like you said, we talked with someone who their sister has cancer, or you talk to someone who they've lost a baby, and there's not really a way to make that like a cheery conversation, but in the end, where our cheer or our joy comes from, another word for that is from Jesus. So in the end, it kind of brings us back around to where's that joy, not happiness, because you can't be happy in the middle of cancer, grief, loss, divorce. You can't, there is no happy in that, but there's this innate joy. And so it is about that joy of Jesus. And juicy topics, they're juicy, or they're, like you said, there's things people don't really talk about or want to. We talked about sex one time.
I was going to say that. We did talk about that.
That was her idea. Sex in marriage, let's be clear.
In marriage.
Which is awkward, right? Like, sex outside of marriage is like, oh, that's hot. And then you get married, it's like, ew, that's gross. And it's like, no. So we talked about that. That was pretty fun.
So that's juicy. That was really juicy.
That was really juicy. That one's with Yumi and Abby. You're getting hot. We're getting hot. Yeah. That was in the apartment one, the Jesus Plus Life episode. We should do a cheery conversation about sex this season.
Oh, yes.
But you don't want to know the details.
Oh my goodness.
We won't do that. Okay, so we'll go to an outtake, right? And then we'll regroup, because I'm talking about sex right now, and come back and talk a little more.
Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it.
We need to impress our spouse. Yeah. And I think we quit impressing our spouse. And I think dating can seem overwhelming. Like, well, we can't afford it now. Well, our kids go to bed at 7:30. When are we going to go on a date? Well, we don't live near parents or a babysitter. We can't afford a babysitter. So dating can kind of become like that. Yeah, that works for you. Or, and you just throw all that advice out the window. But if we could go, wait, I need to keep dating my spouse, or I need to keep impressing my spouse.
I love that.
I will take off the jogging pants and the yoga pants and put on jeans. I will do my makeup and hair even if I have nowhere to go. And I'm guilty of this. Like, when I get home, hair goes up and it's just like, sorry, like this is the leftovers of the day. And that's not what I would have done if I were, when I was dating Sean. Sure. I went to freshen up and look better because I'd see him later. And when we lose that, we wonder, we really do, and we don't want to take the responsibility when our husband or our wife, their eyes start wondering and they start to feel like maybe you don't love or respect them because you don't find it necessary to impress them.
Welcome back. We know you enjoyed that clip. That was from our very first season, Jesus Plus Life. Yes. So you can watch all of those on our YouTube channel. You can also, we didn't talk about this a lot, but we do have a podcast. Yeah. So every Thursday, a new episode, the latest episode drops on all podcast platforms, but you can go back and listen to all of these past conversations.
I think the podcast, it is split up with Jesus Plus Life podcast and then Cheery Conversation podcast. So we have both of those.
Yes. And then YouTube, you can watch them.
Yeah.
Because watching them is also very fun.
Yeah, it's a little, and you're going to see more fun today. Okay.
So, I want to talk about a couple other things that people might not know when they're watching. So for instance, this set looks like we're at someone's house, but we're not.
But we used to be.
Yeah, but it's a pretend like picture behind us. Someone built in these like doors. There's pretend walls by us. So this is like a studio set.
Right,
it's a studio
totally.
set. Yeah. So maybe it looks really real though when you're watching.
Yeah, it does.
What is something else people might not know when they're watching? Sometimes
we can wear sweatpants and a nice shirt, or I'm barefoot right now. It's hot in here because we have to turn the air down off.
Yes.
So that you can't hear it. So often I wish I had a makeup person who could be like, and like powder my nose.
But we kind of do Keith, our producer.
He tells us when we look ugly or need to sit up or need to fix our hair. He doesn't say ugly, but he's very honest.
He does do some cool things in post. I just looked at him like that.
Yeah, he's here.
He does do some, like, I think he fixes our hair in post-production.
Really?
And sometimes,
I just thought my hair looked that good.
And sometimes other things. So
sometimes other things.
Yeah. So I mean, most for our guests are all amazing and
they're already beautiful.
Don't need to have anything
We're
done.
the touched up people.
Yeah. When you said about your sweatpants and whatever, that reminded me when we did all the Zoom, because we did a couple episodes together on Zoom during COVID. You didn't have to do the back of your hair.
Oh, I haven't. I'm still not doing the back of my hair.
Even though I'm back we still don't have to do that.
Well, if I'm in public now, I'm like, you know what? People can just not see a good back of my head anymore. Like it's irrelevant to me.
It's the new look, actually, just here.
Just here, and we don't know what's happening here.
Not so much here.
No idea. And glad there's not a reflection. That's good.
Okay, so but we are wearing pants. We do have pants.
We do. We do. They match today.
Yeah, sometimes they don't. What else? Well, we've had so many conversations over the last 3 years.
Oh, so favorite episode.
Yes, let's talk about favorite episode.
What's your favorite?
Mine is actually, we just aired this as a rerun in the last couple of weeks, but mine is when we had our daughters on. And it's so funny because my daughter had braces at the time. She no longer has braces. So even though it was only like a year ago.
And her hair was longer. Yeah. She looks quite a bit different.
Yeah, she looks so much younger. But that episode was really fun. One, it was with our daughters. Mm-hmm. We had so much fun doing it. And two, they had some really great things to say. Like they were very insightful. And so if you have teenagers, you should watch that episode with our daughters because they said some really good things that I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah, we were like, what could we do better as a mom? And they told us, and I thought that they'd just like annihilate us, and it was really great advice.
It was awesome.
My favorite, that one, and then the one about the sex that we showed. So, I mean, there's been other favorites. Gosh, they're like having 28 children. You love them all for their own reason. I think because every human that we've had as a guest, I love that person.
Yeah.
I love them. And then the topic's always different. So it's really hard to rate them. So I'm kinder and I don't have a favorite.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so 3 things. Can we go into the 3 things people don't know about you?
Oh gosh.
Because host Casey with a K and a C, she has 3 things you don't know about her. So go, and then I'll tell mine.
Okay, well, the first one, someone told me to say this, but the first one was, I have my conceal and carry, but should I say that? Because then I wonder, it's not a secret anymore.
That it's concealed.
And now people might wonder.
And they know it wasn't just that. You're very good with it.
I'm very good at it. Except, never mind.
Okay, then the second thing.
The second thing is, I am so crabby in the morning. Like, I don't even want to talk to anyone.
But you get up early.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, well, during the school year, my daughter gets up very early, so I kind of have to be up with her, taking her to school, but I am not a morning person. I have to fake being a morning person. So if you ever see me like before 9, I'm for sure just pretending. Okay, and so my third thing is, I really wanted my name to be the initials KC, and actually when I was in kindergarten, that's what my parents wanted me to use, like in school, but my kindergarten teacher said I couldn't because it was too easy to write, okay? So she wanted me to write my entire name. Which happens to be very long. My entire name is Cassandra Crystal. So why would I want, that made it even harder. So that's my real name, Cassandra Crystal, but I go by Casey.
So
like
cool.
Cher. But Casey, it's not like Cher.
Like Cher. Sonny and Cher.
Oh my
Sonny
gosh.
and Cher.
Yes, I didn't even know I did that.
You know, people do that to Sean and I, and they're like laughing, like we've never heard it before. They're like, Sonny and Sean. Oh, it's like Sonny and Cher. And you have to do or I've gotten this Sonny, like Sonny Delight, and you do the obligatory heh. And it's kind of like what you said about faking it in the morning. We're both 7, Enneagram 7s.
Oh, yes.
And, maybe that's a 7 thing. Like, I'm ready for an adventure in the day, but please let me get coffee.
Are you crabby in the morning too?
Oh, yeah. Sean's a morning, and he's
so is
and
BJ.
I'm like, and I can't be that way. Yeah. But at night, I'm like, let's go party, and what do you want to watch? And he's like,
yeah. Okay, what are your 3 things?
My 3 things. I was the state arm wrestling champion of South Dakota.
That's an amazing fact.
And I was headed to Las Vegas, except I was 16. It was a women's and men's competition. My dad was the left arm. I was the right arm. He was for men in his age category. I was for women, which was like 35 and under. And so I won. I beat this really monstrous girl after like 5 rounds of beating people. So in Vegas, I was supposed to go with my dad, but I wasn't allowed. I was too young.
What would you have won?
Well, I would have been the state arm wrestling, and then you go state to state by state, and then whoever wins nationals at Las Vegas is the state that wins. So I was for South Dakota.
Do you get like money though?
Oh, I got a trophy. A big old trophy with, yeah.
Okay.
So state arm wrestling champion.
That's so great.
Then I shot myself with a gun.
Oh.
So I'm not as good with concealed and carry. I still have the scar. If Keith was really good, he'd zoom in right now, but he can't. Okay. No, he's really good. Our producer's very good. He's gonna do it. There is a scar, because basically I used to watch Dynasty with my mom, or I would sneak and watch Dynasty.
After Dallas. Yeah.
Dallas, and then Dynasty, and Alexis was gonna shoot the guy who she was having an affair with, or ex-husband or whatever, and she held up a pistol and she shot him, but I held it like I've seen my dad shoot deer. So I held it up like a shotgun or a rifle, and I put the tip, and it grazed as it came out of the barrel, and it basically removed the side flesh of and it was bleeding everywhere.
So
that was at 5 years old.
Okay.
And then I hid the gun in the pickup seat, and I told my dad, I think I cut myself, because I thought I'd get spanked. So instead I'm gonna bleed to death at 5 because I don't want to get spanked. Okay, so that was, and the bullet stayed in the dash of the pickup the rest of my life until they sold it. Thirdly,
good ones.
I've not done a C-section on a sheep. Look how I'm leaning. I have not done a C-section on a sheep, but I have stuck my hand up there to get baby lambs out. They need help if they have more than one, and most ewes have ewes.
Yes.
Not
ewes, guys.
Not ewes, guys, like EWES. Most ewes have at least twins.
Oh my gosh.
They have triplets, they can have quadruplets, but a lot of times the twins get stuck, or for sure triplets. And we had 2,000 head of sheep one lambing season. Most people do 100.
Wow.
We were crazy. And my dad was trying to win the record, I guess, as I get that from him, and he was an arm wrestling champ. So it was like, have the most sheep in. My great-grandpa, I'm giving you 4. My great-grandpa was the largest wool producer in South Dakota, and where I'm from is the center of the nation wool. And he was the largest producer of wool for the nation for a couple years in a row. My great-great-grandpa. So anyway, I helped lambs come out.
Well,
Yes,
I'm gonna give a 4th one too.
Oh, you're gonna up me.
My great-great-grandpa was the biggest moonshiner in Wisconsin. So
mine produced your sweaters, and hers got you drunk.
I mean, yes.
I mean, we're not competitive at all.
No, we're gonna take one more outbreak, and we're gonna show you
outtake. It's okay. We're gonna have an outbreak. We've been having an outbreak. It's called a pandemic.
Oh my gosh! We're gonna take an outtake, and we're gonna show you just a clip from our. Let's face it, it was our favorite episode with our daughters. So we're gonna show you a quick clip of that.
But we're gonna do the outtakes of that.
Yes.
The funny parts that you didn't even see.
Okay.
And Keith's looking backwards right now, like I don't know that that's true.
That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
So stay tuned after the outtake. Okay, welcome back. We are just gonna wrap this up, giving you a little bit of insight on what's in store for season 3.
We have all the guests scheduled.
We do have all the guests scheduled.
However, we could do more. So if you want to connect with me directly, go to sonnyhennessy.com. You can give your suggestion. You might say me, like as in you, not me. I'm already going to be here, but maybe you want to be on the show. Maybe you want to talk about something like. The great thing is we never run out of people's sex. She always wants to talk about sex. She's married. That's why it's okay. You wrote an article in our magazine about it. You said it, and then she wrote in Life and Culture magazine a really great article, and it was called Intimacy. So anyway, we might not have
Digest.
It might not be this crazy the whole season.
Yeah. But
we have some reverent topics and some important topics, but we just wanted to I was going to say, take our hat off during this time. So
we just
take our headband off.
Yeah, take our headband off, because we're going to continue to have all the conversations have something that you can take away from it. So we've got amazing guests coming up. We have great topics. We always have fun.
Yes.
And we always point to Jesus. So we would love for you to join us every week, and we'll see you next week at the same time for another Cheery Conversation.